The Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, is an agency that is shrouded with secrecy, tasked with protecting the United States from foreign and domestic threats. However, as declassified documents have revealed, the CIA has been involved in some of the most sinister and bizarre activities in modern history. From toppling democratically elected governments to conducting mind control experiments, the agency's actions have sparked controversies. But the covert program that we will delve into in this video may lead us to question whether the CIA was merely joking. Devil Eyes. This was the code name of the secret program of the CIA in 2006, and it involved the distribution of toys in South Asia countries such as Afghanistan and Pakistan. The toy that will be distributed is perceived to help end one of the greatest conflicts in modern times. So, what was this toy, and how could it possibly achieve such a lofty goal? Well, to answer this question, we'll need to discuss Osama bin Laden, one of the most infamous terrorists in history. Bin Laden was one of more than 50 children of Mohammed bin Laden, a self-made billionaire from Yemen. In 1988, he formed a militant network named Al-Qaeda, or the Base. In the early 1990s, bin Laden and his Al-Qaeda network began to formulate an agenda of violent struggle against the threat of U.S. dominance in the Muslim world. When Al-Qaeda orchestrated the September 11, 2001 attacks, it left the world reeling with 3,000 people dead and 6,000 injured. The United States, along with coalition forces, responded with the War on Terror, invading Afghanistan in an effort to eliminate Al-Qaeda and oust the Taliban regime. However, despite months of fighting, many of the fighters escaped to neighboring Pakistan, where they continued to launch offensives, leaving the war far from over. That's where this toy comes in. In an attempt to gain the trust of locals and gather intelligence in the hunt for Osama bin Laden, the CIA launched a program where gift items were distributed to children. These gifts included a variety of items such as pencils, notebooks, games, and toys, all packed in backpacks for easy distribution, with blue backpacks for boys and pink backpacks for girls. This initiative was met with appreciation by many of the locals who received them. Despite years of searching for bin Laden, intelligence agencies were no closer to finding him. Leads went nowhere, and conflicting information on his whereabouts only added to the challenge. The FBI even had a $25 million bounty out for his capture or death, which did not yield much actionable intelligence. Bin Laden's ability to evade capture and survive only emboldened Al-Qaeda and reminded the people of the region of the group's enduring influence and power. With the conventional methods failing to yield results, the CIA realized they needed to take a different approach that was unconventional and unsettling to some. The agency turned to an unexpected source for help, enlisting Donald Levine, one of the greatest minds in the toy industry, and a former executive at Hasbro, where he was head of research and development. Hasbro is an American multinational toy company and the largest toy maker in the world, responsible for creating iconic toys such as Mr. Potato Head, Transformers, and the iconic G.I. Joe, which was Levine's greatest creation. The CIA tasked Levine with creating a new product, a very special toy for what was to be a very special mission. Initially hesitant, Levine eventually agreed, but the next step was to travel 13,000 kilometers to Guangdong, China. For Levine, this was familiar territory as he had done business in the region for nearly 60 years, amassing a vast network of contacts. With most of Hasbro's toys being manufactured in East Asia, the CIA now had the means to discreetly develop and manufacture their secret product, which would have been extremely difficult to do in the US. To ensure precision and accuracy, Chinese artists and designers were also enlisted in the development process. A few months had passed since the CIA had approached toy industry mastermind Donald Levine to enlist his help in a top-secret mission to combat Al-Qaeda. Now, a factory manager who had been involved in the development of the product had traveled to a Guangdong warehouse to meet with operatives and present the final product for inspection. As the men examined the product, it was clear that the toy was as they had envisioned. Osama bin Laden in 12-inch form, a custom-made terrorist action figure with a sinister twist. The plan was to send these toys, cheaply packaged in backpacks alongside school supplies and other toys, to the Afghanistan-Pakistan region under the guise of a goodwill project. The seemingly innocuous bin Laden dolls would be slipped in amongst the other items and distributed to unsuspecting children on a nationwide scale. Once the children found the toys and began playing with them, they would soon realize that this was no ordinary doll. As the toy was exposed to heat, the doll's face would peel away to reveal a demonic face, complete with red skin, green eyes, and black markings. This specially designed toy was intended to induce fear and anxiety, with the hope that children and their parents would begin to see bin Laden as a monster rather than a heroic figure. The idea was to dehumanize him, dissuading people from idolizing him and from joining radical groups. This covert psychological operation was designed to turn public opinion against al-Qaeda with the use of playtime propaganda, leading to bin Laden's capture and al-Qaeda's defeat. While Donald Levine and various officials were pleased with the final product, final approval was needed from Langley before the next phase of the operation could be launched. For over half a decade, the CIA had been using drones, satellites, spies, and tracking devices to combat al-Qaeda. But this unconventional approach was seen as a potentially game-changing strategy. However, after careful inspection of the toy and reassessment of the operation, the CIA ultimately decided to shut it down, with no mass production or distribution to occur, and all traces of the operation in China wiped out. Perhaps they felt they had more actionable intel or were concerned about operational costs and political blowback. Or maybe they simply realized that a toy bin Laden morphing into a jihadist Darth Maul might actually be viewed as super cool by young pro-Taliban Star Wars fans. According to official records, there are only 3 bin Laden prototypes in existence, claimed to be variants, and 2 of them were discovered in a basement many years later by Neil Levine, son of Donald Levine. The third and final doll remains fittingly in the possession of the CIA at Langley headquarters. Despite the CIA's official claim, sources have suggested that a few hundred bin Laden figures were produced in a pre-production run in 2006 and were shipped out to the Pakistani city of Karachi. If true, this would mean hundreds of toys are still out there in circulation. 5 years after the failed operation, on May 2, 2011, the CIA finally located bin Laden in a private residential compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Operation Neptune Spear, a CIA-led mission carried out by members of SEAL Team 6, successfully located and killed bin Laden. Ultimately, the failure of Operation Devil Eyes did not deter the CIA from pursuing their mission to locate and capture bin Laden. Despite the setback, they persevered and ultimately succeeded in eliminating the world's most wanted man. What are your thoughts about this? If you'd like to get a hand on one of these toys, smash that subscribe button. Until the next one.